Welcome back on this fine Friday morning. Now, the Jubilee government is famed for styling itself for digital administration. And there is no one who stands at the center of that digital initiative more than the director of the digital. He'll explain to us, I mean, the title is a bit long, but he's in the studio today, an interesting young man and a colleague, Dennis Itumbi. Dennis, first tell us what your title is. This is an informal discussion.
The State House is Digital Director. It's Digital Innovations and Diaspora Communications. Now, it's good I explain a bit about diaspora communications. Right. It is not the foreign affairs bit of diaspora. It's just communicating what government as a whole is doing on diaspora. You realize that in the past, diaspora has just been a desk in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So the thinking this time round was every ministry should have something that the diaspora can benefit from. So that if you're in agriculture, there is some investment by people living in the diaspora on agriculture. So my role on that is to capture what is happening across government and communicate it. But in terms of the strategy, in terms of the policy, that still rests on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs because they have the infrastructure, they have the embassies.
Have they left you with anything? Because a couple of weeks ago, I think there was a discussion about migrating the whole of that diaspora affairs back to the ministry. So you still have some portfolio.
Yeah, in fact, it was just a miscommunication from the beginning. Right. From the beginning, it has always been diaspora communications. And that is why, by the way, David, the department falls under Presidential Strategic Communication Unit. So the role is just communications. Yes. It's not the policy. It's more like even the digital bit. There's been a lot of confusion between digital and ICT. Even in State House, we have an ICT department, yes, which digital is quite different from ICT. ICT is a hardware, digital is a software.
It's a software.
I would like to know, Dennis, you used to hustle with me. How was the transition?
How did you end up at State House?
How did you end up there?
The hustle actually, even before, I actually remember when I first came for my first interview in Citizen at Ambach House. At the time when Citizen was facing, at that time, a lot of trouble from the government at that time. I remember I even met Anderson, who is now in K24, and I remember even being sent to, I was a correspondent in Embu. So what I decided a long time ago is that I didn't have godfathers, and I had to compete with those who had godfathers. Yes. So I decided that my only godfather was where I wanted to aim to be. So I decided the ultimate aim, actually my ultimate aim even up to now, is to be a serious lawyer. So I just began. It's basically from the journalism. When you go to a press conference, make your contacts. Even the current Inspector General of Police, when he was at GSU Commandant, he was my source at that time. Yeah. So all these guys, I started making, I made sure that the people who are the lower level at that time, I made a lot of contact with them. Then one day in I'm sure you want us to get to the State House issue. In 2011, one day, I got a call, and a gentleman on the other side of the phone introduced himself as Uhuru Kenyatta. I thought, I mean, this guy is joking, so I disconnected the phone.
Yes.
About another 20 minutes later, I got the same call again. I said, okay, yeah, I still didn't believe, so after that, I was supposed to meet him in a certain hotel in town, which I then declined because I didn't take it serious. So after about an hour, now this time I decided, okay, let me just go to this place and see whether it's for real. When I went, I met him there, and he was driving himself, and he had done what you'd call an old model car. And we drove to South B into what you'd call a semi-middle class pub, which I'll not mention here, but we got in, and he appeared to be very comfortable with the patrons in that place. And then after that, we drove to somewhere along Nairobi-Nakuru Road. We drove to somewhere and got into a house where there was a widow who had 9 children, and he was looking at the report forms and advising the children. I really did not get why we were doing this drive up to now. Then as we came back here, I was clearly told that is why I want to be president. I was like, okay, so how do I come in? I still could not get the connection. At that time, I just left the Voice of America, and I was running my own business. So after that, we agreed with him that I would take my time to think and look at it. And already he had put his agenda. So after 2 weeks, he gave me another call, and I went in and did what I think would be my presentation. And I told him I would not work under him. Told him I would want to continue with my business, and I would want to do this as a consultancy. And there was an agreement to do the consultancy. Right. And that is how we got him.
And then you joined the TNA, his campaign team at that time, or what?
I refused to get into the political party. partly because I had worked as an intern at Mwenge House in 2002, my first year in Nairobi.
Mwenge House?
Mwenge House was the headquarters
DP,
of NAC.
NAC, yes.
Or
yes.
during when President Kibaki at that time was vying.
Yes.
So I had worked at a gentleman called Daniel Otunge at the time. So having done that, I didn't really believe in politics. I mean, the late Alex Morethi gave us a letter with a NAC letterhead appointing us to PPS at that time and giving us a salary of 70,000. For a person who had just come from the village and who was making his living taking coffee to be milled, 70,000 was a lot of money in my first year in Nairobi. So I took it. But when I went to State House, those guys at the gate could not allow me. They told me they don't recognize that letterhead. Yet, and we were with a gentleman called Dennis Osarigo, who now works as an investigative journalist in one of the media stations. And they denied us entry. The reality of politics hit me at that time. So there was no way I was going to agree to get into the political party. So the outfit for my consultancy was basically to address the president. And I said, my condition for joining the campaign was I needed, first of all, 2 months without pay, because I wanted to test whether, at that time there was ICC, there was the bit that he has a silver spoon in the mouth, there was a lot about Uhuru Kenyatta, which for a long time had been miscommunicated. So the challenge was enormous. So I said, if this has to be done, then there must be a direct reporting line to the candidate.
Right. So you got into State House eventually, but there has been still problems about your own appointment. Has it been ratified? Because there have been issues. What are the issues? The issues are that, one, you're not qualified. Even though you know the job, you don't have the papers. I would like you to respond to that.
Yes.
And then two, they think that even though you know a lot of IT things, you're just a blogger. How can a blogger, be dealing for the president without experience, history, civil service, all these questions arising? Address those.
Good. First of all, I did not apply for a job in State House. There was headhunting, and I was given qualifications for the job and what was expected of me on that job. I felt it was comfortable. Of course, I put in my own input into what else I would do, and it was brought in. Some of it is not completely digital. And because, I mean, my argument was digital is not necessarily the computer. It is also a different way of doing things. And that is why you have seen a bit of few launches, even one that we are doing this mid-morning today.
Yes.
Launches with a difference from Uwezo to Huduma, redoing what government has always done on cutting ribbons as a way of launching anything, and to go to what corporate do in terms of unveiling. Like when Citizen is unveiling a new brand, you stay in the house from 7 to 9 just to witness how it's being done. So basically, those kind of things I put in on my job description. And as to whether I am qualified for the job, as defined, properly qualified. I mean, and that is the only reason anyway that the Public Service Commission would agree to appoint you. So I think that is resolved.
Have you been appointed?
Yes.
The word in the street is that this guy doesn't have the papers, so he has not been appointed. Remember the story came out in the, I think one of the papers, that there was a controversy around that, which is not too long ago, less than a month.
I don't think the story did not address the issue. Of course, they had one paragraph that said about appointment, but they were addressing the issue of an NIS report about the Kenya Institute of Mass Communication. Now, Makari and I mean, I cannot sit here and defend KMC. KMC is a fact. On the issue of demos in KMC, I'm very proud of that moment. I mean, I was a villager. I convinced a lot of guys. I mean, some of them who work here in Citizen to go on a peaceful demonstration. And some people had grabbed our land, which was supposed to be in hostels.
That's right.
Today, when you go back to KMC, we used to live in bad things. I mean, there was not even space for people to live.
Now
for some of us, now we have modern, beautiful
All right, let's move past that and look at Dennis Itumbi at State House. What is your day like? What do you do on a daily basis? For people who believe that, Itumbi is just a blogger. He's the official State House blogger. That's what we know. That's what a lot of people think. But now you're explaining a little more stuff of what goes on. So how, just define your work, what you do on a routine basis.
Yeah, first of all, whereas the title has been always conceived to be State House digital strategist, the role goes further. For people working in PSU, the 6 directors, we oversee government. So it is actually, the role goes across government. And as you'll be seeing in future, in the near future, actually towards the end of this year for the remaining bit, you'll see us putting very strong communication units in government, which have digital strategists, which have the same appointments like you have at the presidency. across government, so as to make sure that things are communicated at the ministry level. You remember in the past government, there was only one government spokesman, and sometimes ministers would come out and say, what he's saying is not what we're doing. So we're saying, why don't you empower those people we call PROs in ministry to become very strong and to attend meetings, and so that when you have a power breakfast, they can come here and be able to say with authority because they have attended those meetings. So how does my day look like? First of all, we have 3 roles. One is to run a social media structure across government, which we've really not completely succeeded. 2 is to ensure government websites look and function as they should. And most important,
Every ministry.
yes,
Government means what? Not
the entire government,
Not
from
just the
state-
presidency.
not only the presidency, across. In fact, when you were doing when the first executive order came out, the communication bit was placed in the presidency in terms of government communications. And you remember the conversation you had when editors came to State House about a government communication center that was supposed to be put for press conferences to be done from there.
Yes.
So that thinking is what now is going to inform, and that is actually what informs presidential systems across the world, that the communication comes from the presidency down to the ministries.
What happens if every ministry has a communications person or a PR? What happens to that? Do they answer to you? If you have to communicate every government...
They don't answer to Dennis, but we have a director of public communications, Munyori Buku,
Yes.
who now oversees that. Then you have Emmanuel Tarami in the presidency, who is a senior director in charge of the Kenya News Agency and stuff. So you will even see the Kenya News Agency itself being remodeled to report to a certain person with a view of ensuring government communication is consistent and the messaging. We even have now the director of speech writing, whereas he's known for his speeches, he's also the director of messaging for government. So you decide on a daily basis, this is our message. And then from that, all the ministries, we get all the functions in a docket like the diary you have in the media houses, and then now you assign that message so that those functions fit within that message of government, and therefore you have a consistency. As opposed to the past, where people sit, you don't even know what is happening in the Ministry of Environment for that day. You see it in the news like every other Kenyan.
Yeah.
So redoing that government communication has taken a bit of time, but the president has been at the top of
Now,
ensuring
look,
that
If
it's
that is the
consistent.
case, then
Yeah.
how come yesterday there was a blunder in the
Ministry of Interior
the Ministry of
and
Interior,
the
tweeting
police.
the people have been arrested while we are not.
Those are now some of the challenges which I'm sure we'll raise in another question. But those are some of the challenges, because, for instance, when you are redoing that, as I said earlier, this is where the shift is going, and I said by the end of the year, it's not yet completely seamless. So there is still some guys, like when cabinet secretaries got in, of course, most of them actually got in with a bit of their own staff to be able to operate and to be able to sync to government. So making sure that staff now reports on a line becomes a challenge. But that is something that was addressed during the cabinet retreat, is been addressed through the budget process. And therefore, you can bring communication around one person, but the budgets are still in the ministries. So you really cannot control and shape. So those are some of the challenges, and I'm sure we are going towards that.
Yeah. It seems that you have a very freewheeling environment and things are freestyle. I mean, looking at how government functions, previous governments, things were very rigid. You got communication, you had memos, you had a lot of official correspondence before things happened. This doesn't seem to be the case. You're working in
Oh man!
an environment of liberty. You can decide to shoot an SMS today, and that is government policy or communication, right?
Yeah, I don't know whether what I'll say next will be a subject of a memo, but I'll say it anyway because it's the truth.
Yes.
Since 2002, by looking at past correspondent, government websites have spent over 1 billion Kenya shillings. Actually, over 5 billion Kenya shillings. Yet those government websites, up to now, some of them
function.
Some of them, you can't even look at them. They look like a Word document that has been scanned. Yeah. When I got in, I got a letter to go to a conference to do a template of government websites. So we were going for a meeting for 10 days, not to do government websites after the 10 days, but to do a template, which would then come to another meeting to be discussed and then approved. Of course, I wrote back and said, I'm not attending. But you see, those 10 days, first of all, the meetings are not done in Nairobi, they're done outside Nairobi, so there is an aspect of allowances. So if you calculate the total cost of how much it has taken, and every year, if you go back to, I'm sure you, on the Treasury website, they have put all the entire budget. Every year, every ministry is allocated some money to redo their website. So there is an anticipation that websites are not supposed to be perfect, so that every year there is some money that is given to upgrade those websites, yes, and that money goes somewhere. So, changing some of those things within government has taken time And some of them now, when you're dealing with websites and you have Mpeketoni, some of them you cannot keep rushing to the president to sort. You will have to deal with them at your level because he's handling major things. And now at your level, then you will meet what all of us know about people who say they are government. There are people who say you came, you will go, you will leave us here.
Yeah.
So those guys still exist. It is impossible. In fact, when we changed the State House website to be president.go.ke, there was a lot of resistance because 4 million was allocated and we did it for free without asking for that budget.
Yes.
They could not believe that we did it and we did not ask for that money.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of resistance within government for change.
Yes.
But our aim is, and I think that's where now the thing of Filanga Free and the liberty comes in.
Yeah.
We will go on with all those guys. I mean, there are guys even on Twitter. There's a guy called Room Thinker on Twitter who offered to give us a free design of all government websites, but you cannot engage him yet. He's giving a free offer because of procurement and because of endless amounts of paperwork.
Yes.
But that's why we have digital new media, which is innovation.
But somebody will say that paperwork is essential for accountability and responsibility, because somewhere something is going to go wrong and somebody will have to take responsibility.
That's true, but accountability is not part. I mean, we had Anglo-Leasing, we had Goldenberg, all of it, there was proper paperwork, which is used to defend those cases in court.
Yeah.
So it is not per se the paperwork, it's the attitude that needs to change.
The record,
Yes, and the record will still be clean, even after we do this thing. Yes. I mean, if a person is saying, look guys, you don't have to spend, if you do 4 times 20 departments, and that is a casual number, if you say 4 million times 20 departments, that's approximately 80 million.
Right.
And you see, that is just on doing websites. Then next year you spend another 80 million. Surely we can change Kenyan lives with that. And somebody is offering it for free.
Now let's look at, the digital approach that, State House and you as its main proponent has undertaken. A couple of projects. And sometimes you wonder, so what has that got to do with State House? Or why would the digital strategies from State House be involved? Nakuru, the Wi-Fi project. What was it about? And why did Dennis Itumbi or State House, for that matter, get involved in that project? Okay,
first of all, and that's now where the presidential system comes in. It was a promise of the Jubilee government when there were a Jubilee coalition on the campaign to connect at least 5 towns to free Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a personal pledge by the president as a person and by the coalition that sponsored them into power to ensure it's done. So you get into power. Are you going to effect that through the political party process or through the government process? The promise was made that if you elect us into government, we will do it as government. And that's now where you come in. You can choose 2 ways. You can either push it and have all that done paperwork up to 2017 and you still have not done the Wi-Fi, or for what we did ourselves, we went and approached, got into a private public partnership. We went to County of Nakuru. County of Nakuru waived the fee of connection and the way leaves. So instead of paying all the licenses that are required of the county, they waived that. Yes. Then the guys who are giving the equipment, who now is Liquid and Infonet, bring in the equipment for free, knowing very well that this is something that is going to benefit connections, and within that then the business community can make their own money. So they bring in the equipment for free. Then the data, you have Orange and a few other partners who then provide the data for free again. But you cost that because there is a cost. If you are to pay, how much would you have paid? So you cost and announce it, but in real sense, not single shilling left the taxpayers' coffers.
Yeah.
Does it succeed?
So eventually it didn't work.
Those are now the challenges. But look,
that
Nakuru
gives
Wi-Fi
a bad name, right?
No.
Or it's still
Yeah, I mean,
things start and
in innovations and new media, mistakes have to be made. And when the mistakes are made, you go back and reconnect. I challenge you. In fact, I hope we'll have this conversation in Nakuru mid-August when the Wi-Fi is working and you can tweet from there. Because we are now reconnecting. What we have done, we have brought down the connection. By the way, even if you call Nakuru now, you can still see the connection. What happened is that after seeing the connection and the bars were full, you could then not be able to download high-speed videos, which was the essence. At Egerton University, you could not be able to get into research. And let me tell you, it was not only the Wi-Fi connection, is not only the connection. And that is why I would not agree that it has failed. One, we were giving a free website. Nakuru.go.ke is one of the best designed county websites. And we were giving them for free.
I'll check that out.
Yeah, please do.
Yes.
Then we had an impact center. The Impact Center is a building where we give them free 8 computers where people can come in and learn. If I'm a farmer, how do I sell my potatoes to Canada, for example? How do I sell my nuts to the United States? And how do I get free market without the middleman? So that Impact Center is working at the county office and it's manned. So we've created jobs there, direct 20 jobs at the county level through the free Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah.
Then the other thing that we did, we introduced an app called Sautietu. And I challenge you on your Android phones, download Sautietu. You'll be able to see that across the country, some people are saying my toilet collapsed last night, and then you're able to send a chief. And remember in Nakuru, we have Chief Karaoke, who is already recognized by Google.
Yes,
and he is leading the bit
chief.
of, he's leading the reaction in public on that complaint system.
Yeah.
So out of all the offers we made for what we called the Nakuru Wi-Fi connection, 80% is working. It's only the 20% of the connection.
At what cost? There is a tweet that comes in, a message, SMS, somebody for Nakuru. And if you're in Nakuru, you can, check on Itumbi if he's not telling us the truth. If that thing is not working and he's right here, you're at liberty to text us and participate in this 22422. But somebody says, Itumbi, that project cost 200 million, the Wi-Fi system, and it's dysfunctional. That is a bit of disappointment for people who, expected it to work.
That's what I'm saying, Makali.
So you're saying it's going to be fixed. Was the cost actually as it is estimated here?
Well, that's what I'm saying. No money left the taxpayers' coffers.
All right.
I mean, when I came to Citizen, I fueled my car. So if I was to say, and you also fueled your car. So if you were to calculate how much we did, we would say, but we are not costing that to Citizen, but we're here. So what we did, we costed so that people would know if we had spent money,
it would have spent
much.
But
now in this case, we have just gotten guys who have contributed and we are doing it for free. It's a proof of concept. And by the way, we are moving from there. And that is why we delayed. We were supposed to launch Kisumu on May the 8th, but we delayed it because there are lessons to learn from Nakuru, and we don't want to go to the next level.
So which are the other towns?
We're going to go to Kisumu.
Right.
We're going to go to Lamu. But Kisumu, we also want to put a fish auction. And we've been doing a lot of research because our argument is Nairobi Stock Exchange trades on currency. But people can trade on other things.
Valuable commodities,
yes, like fish. And that will be the first in Eastern Africa. So we've been having a lot of conversation and how to connect it. The guy who did the commodities exchange in Rwanda, we've been in touch with him. He's really helped us with a lot of knowledge. But we will not move to Kisumu until all the lessons we are learning from Nakuru are complete. By the way, Harvard University is in town. They want to study the model of how we did Nakuru and what lessons we are doing. Yale University was here a month ago, that was early June, to study that concept, and soon they'll be publishing their paper. The Wi-Fi project
I
in
hope
Nakuru,
it doesn't become a negative paper because it's not yet functional fully. Did they come too early?
No, it's okay. I mean, they saw the challenges. We want them to see the challenges.
Okay.
We are not presenting a
perfect model.
Perfect model.
It is an experiment.
I mean, it's and we are putting it. We are going to make mistakes.
Okay.
We are going to fail, but we are going to.
Let's trot them out. So Kisumu, what other town? You said 5
Kisumu.
towns
Then you're going to go to Lamu.
Lamu.
For now, we'll do those 3.
Why Lamu? Because of
Lamu because of the upset, and also because principally that Nobit, which is one of the fiber connections, goes up to Lamu. It's the center. It's the heart of the whole connection. So Lamu becomes, and then it also represents a far off area. It will also, and then for Lamu, we'll also put value addition. As I've said, this Wi-Fi is not only the connection. It comes with various value additions. For Kisumu, I've told you it's a fish auction. For Lamu, we are doing telemedicine.
Yeah. So, okay. In essence, what that means is that if you are within that town, you can connect onto the internet free. That's what really the public ought to understand.
Yes, free. And for like Nakuru, we're even taking it to Egerton University because we want one of the challenges when they rank universities every year has been that our universities do not publish papers. And why don't they publish papers? It's because they don't have outlets that are online. Most of them do. They take to the teachers, they mark, and they keep it in their rooms to be looking at. So we are saying with free internet, they are able to put up blogs and publish their papers and even challenges, even up to small things like cleaning the town. If the guy who is doing environment can study that and be able to publish. So we are going to inspire innovation and research.
Okay, 3 towns and the promise was 5. Why the revision of the target?
I'm only speaking about from, that is from March this year up to the end of this year. Our aim is to have connected 3
At least 3 towns. But the target, as the president promised
during
the campaign, is 5, or it could be more.
We think with the rural rectification targets of connecting every primary school, that we may actually be able to connect a lot of it. We may be able to put hotspots in almost the entire country by 2017. Yeah,
why? In fact, I was about to ask, why not give each county headquarter a Wi-Fi system?
47 of them.
47 of them.
Why
is
not?
That not reachable?
Why not?
Looking at the challenges you've had in Nakuru, and the expense, it looks like it's possible, given the billions that we are spending on a lot of other things and trying to do fiber.
It's actually, and the partners are willing to put in for free, because for us the model we are looking at is, can we do this thing without government financing, so that the financing model becomes different, so that people own it, so that you give people business to benefit from it. And there's even a major question: what happens to cyber cafes as a business? Once you have free internet, then people will not go to cybers. That has been also another question that we have received.
Yeah,
for a long
That's
you're
time.
be
obvious.
killing
That's
business,
obvious.
right?
What happened to call boxes?
Yeah.
When-
I mean,
when
people have to
mobile
change
phone
them.
came, call boxes
People have to
were
change
no
their
longer.
business. We can't
You
be
have to
stuck
change.
with the old.
That's the problem with technology.
But the question I would like to ask Itumbe is, what is the capacity of the Wi-Fi that you are setting up, and how many connections concurrently can they sustain? Because you could end up with Wi-Fi that has more downtime than connectivity.
Yes, when we started in Nakuru, we did 10 Mbps, which is basically, and people on the back end, the usage was very low. But we have boosted it. We are going to start now in Nakuru with 100, which is quite
The
a lot.
100?
Yeah. So
Okay.
it will be fast connection and quick downloads.
Yeah, very nice feedback on you. It will be fast, but anyway, Nakuru is still, your test case has a lot of problems. Somebody said the Wi-Fi in Nakuru only works within the governor's premises. I have tried to use it 200 meters from the governor's office, and it was doing me more harm than good. Mike from Nakuru.
Mike,
So
Mike,
tell him something on that.
Mike, I put you my assurance. I'll be in Nakuru mid-August to come and I'm actually going to invite these two gentlemen I'm sitting with, so that we can do this show in Nakuru. I hope they will. I hope they
And
will
transmit
go
it
with me
live
and
from
transmit
there.
it live from there, so that you can actually appreciate. But more than that, we want when you come in August after the reconnection, because right now Liquid is on site. They are bringing down the connection as it was, and they are redoing it. So when we come, we want to do a medical camp online, so that the medical camp online can be done through the free Wi-Fi. So and the doctors in India have agreed to participate. We have doctors in Nairobi who have agreed to participate, and we have Danush, Danush is a company in Upper Hill that are trying also their telemedicine and have agreed to participate for free. So we'll go to every constituency. We'll put a van in every constituency, and people can go and get diagnosis and get an opinion from India real time, an opinion from Nairobi, and an opinion from doctors in Nakuru. We'll come and try that out and see how it goes.
Well, innovation is about trying things out. I hope it works. Somebody says, though, about the websites you mentioned, the many government websites, that most of those websites are done on WordPress, including the one of Nakuru. How secure are they?
I mean, first of all, we have invested quite significantly on cyber security. I mean, there are people on Twitter who have done for us an analysis for free. That's why Kenyans has a lot of innovation. But somebody has done for us an analysis for free on our security. That was around 4 months ago. And we reacted, and he helped us also to farm it further. We keep testing them. I mean, we also, hacking, by the way, is taught as a legal thing in college. So there are some people who have undergone the course, and we involve them to try and hack some of our websites and see how secure they are. But as I said, we have not gone too much deep into government, and we hope that in fact, I can say this for free, we are going to interrupt that process, because innovation is also about interruption. So we are going to disrupt the process of a lot of paperwork and just do the websites. Let's discuss when the websites are there. I totally appreciate that comment, and it's something that we are going to address.
You don't think that is unprocedural? What you are proposing to go and do, because government and records and procedures and due process are essential. And secondly, even in this drive for digitalization, what is the level of participation consultations that are going in, so that people don't raise questions after the fact, or you're doing things top down because you have decided you want to do it?
No. The thing is this: if right now we are having a discussion without.
Yes.
We need to put out a draft something that people can discuss based on it. Now we don't have it, and you're still discussing about how not to have it. Let's have something, then let's base the discussion when we have something.
Okay. People are going to hold you on. We'll move on from Nakuru, leave it out, but people are going to hold on to it because, you see, once the president's name is put on something, it is not an experimental thing. The president comes to lay seal of approval and authority. So when you say something was started and then it flopped, and then you're going to fix it, and then we keep going, issues arise. Like, the already issues that arose when the president went and issued title deeds in Coast. And people say those title deeds were fake. Many of them were not honored and so forth. So isn't there sensitivity that you're handling presidential matters, and with the alacrity you're moving, you could end up with scandals or failures that embarrass the president?
First of all, you know, if I don't know at what point you invoke the president's name. We also have private sector there who have played a key role. We have the county government there that has played a key role. And as I said, the project at 80% with what we promised has been done and delivered. This 20%, yes, has failed. And we are bold enough to admit failure. I don't know how many government officials have come here and said we have failed on that. We failed in our first connection. We are redoing it after redoing the research, and which, by the way, we are going to publish the survey we did on why we failed. Yes. We are going to publish our failures and say how we intend to address those failures. We failed, but please give us a chance to redo it. We will redo it.
All right, let's move on to something else that was also very grand. I saw you with the matatus. Matatu owners, you're trying to do something there again. What was it and how far has it gone? I'll leave you to explain yourself.
Well, Matatus, there was an edict from the Ministry of Transport to go cashless. So the Matatu Owners Association approached us with a view of establishing a cashless system within Matatus.
Yes.
Because they wanted to associate with government and they knew we were in charge of the digital. So we put up a small team in our department to help them with the technology. So we give them the technology, but in terms of investment, we left it to them. I know they approached a private company that then bought the cards for them, bought the equipment that you tap and go for them, and invested in their matatus.
There are actually two companies which have already got into that sector with the cashless system, and they're not the two platforms are not synchronized, which is going to generate issues.
No, the technology we give goes across. Even if you go into a matatu that is using another system other than the system they adopted, it's able to take that, so that you don't have 15 cards, so that when you get into a matatu, you're looking at what it is.
Different accounts with different banks.
This, also government is going cashless with time. That is a card that you're also able to go pay. It goes across platforms. You can even go pay with it into your normal shopping in supermarkets where it's allowed. So it's usable across the system. The technology we gave is synchronizes with all the system. It is not specific to one particular matatu. Yeah. And it goes beyond the matatu business to parking where it's accepted, to shopping. It's going to be a massive thing. 1963 card was just what their branding was. Their branding.
Yes.
But our technology goes across, as we just gave technology, because that's
why did you come in to give the technology? That's what I'm wondering. And in what capacity? We are not an IT solutions provider. I mean, this is State House. This is digital. What is your role in? Why are you dabbling? Somebody will say in these things.
I mean, if people approach you and tell you, we are interested in obeying what government has said, and we think you have the ability to give us the technology, and what they are asking thereof is not something that takes from our core mandate.
Yes.
We allow them to. We give them the technology, and they own. As for the investment, they own it. We're not giving them the investment from taxpayers' money. We're just giving them technology.
Where do you get the technology?
Where do you get the? You're not an IT company.
Yeah.
You are a public.
Where do you get the technology?
You are government.
We have a department that is staffed with people who are well versed with technology. I mean, it's their brain. We could have done it differently. By the way, we would have told the guys within our department, form a small company and charge these guys to give them.
The trouble is, with technology, and there's, I mean, you and I would know what dumping of technology is. You are going to give these guys that technology or that software. You will be in positions that you are maybe for 5 years, 10 years. You get out of there. You don't service that technology. When things go wrong, what is going to happen? That is why it's important that these people adopting technology are connected to an IT company that continues to upgrade and service.
That's a very good question, because I need to explain that after the technology.
That is what is missing in this whole
Once we develop the technology, we handed it up to them. Right. So the management of the technology is based on them. In fact,
they develop their own capacity.
Yeah, they develop their own capacity. In fact, as we speak, I know they have a whole department which monitors, because the technology also comes with, you see, when you're handing over technology, you also look at how government benefits from that technology. For instance, when we gave them, we also suggested to them that the technology can be matched to CCTV cameras within public transport. And that addresses a critical security issue. Because when people are bombing matatus and putting grenades on them, now you're able to monitor. You're also able to monitor who gets into matatus, and you're also able to get a manifest of every matatu, because when you use the card and tap,
Yes.
because you register with your ID, it leaves details
Yes.
about yourself.
Yes.
So it is a passenger manifest. So if there is an accident, you're able to know
And tell
exactly
who
was
boarded
in
that
that,
matatu,
who was
who
boarding
used
that
the
matatu.
card.
So we give a plausible technology, and we don't know whether we were the only ones who gave the technology.
Yeah.
They only adopted ours because it was comprehensive,
Okay.
and we gave it to them.
All right, now, yes, Mutegi.
Let me change the subject a little bit. You had issues with the ICC. Was it resolved? What was the issue?
Yeah, I got arrested sometime in Embu in a dramatic fashion. I totally appreciate that part of my life. It would form a very good bit of the book I'll write later. However, after the arrest, I was informed that the reason why I was arrested is because ICC had asked for my arrest. So they put me in for 4 days, from a Thursday to a Monday evening, which in itself is illegal. But after that, they released me. Up to now, my file at CID has not been closed, as far as I know, or a letter has never come to me to tell me they have closed it. But based on that, I went to the ICC and sued the ICC for arresting me without plausible reason, because at that time they said I had hacked their
You had
computer,
hacked the system.
their system.
Yeah.
So I went and sued them. The ICC, it's on their ICC website, the papers that I sued them on. The ICC ruled that they had not given the instruction to arrest me, and that the Attorney General in a press conference had lied about it. So I came back to Kenya and wrote to the Attorney General, and as we speak now, there is a case at the High Court where I've sued the government for arresting me without plausible cause.
Yes. So, but what were you
Alleged to have done?
alleged to have hacked?
They-
to get what information? And
They
in whose
claim,
interest?
They claim that I had taken witness statements, and after, of course, they do not address whose interest, but their claims was hacked witness statements, and therefore used the witness statements to threaten the witnesses.
Right.
Well, as to whether I had hacked or not, I leave it for history to judge.
Okay. Let's look at the future. Let's tie up our IT forays and what the digital drive of the government is, and you seem to be its north. Where next, and what is coming up? What do you have in your pocket?
We have actually several things. We have hashtag GOK Interacts, as Government of Kenya Interacts. We've already done one with the Ministry of Labour, and we've done one with the Deputy President. The idea of that is to put top policy makers on a table and then engage them with the social media asking questions. They reply and we tweet it in. So that has worked perfectly well. And it's not only questions. It's people saying, I have had land for 18 years, it was snapped. So the person there cannot answer immediately. So we also go back and take a week or two to answer all the questions that come on that hashtag. That has been a very exciting thing. I'll tell you as we speak that Kampala International University has already approached us to see how the same can be rolled out in their systems. We also have the County Council of Kampala. They've also approached to see how they can use the same hashtag. So that has been exciting. Then number two, we are doing one of the key things we want to do is telemedicine. You realize that the First Lady has been involved quite a lot on some bits of child mortality and has been bringing mobile clinics. And we want to see how those mobile clinics, other than being a mobile clinic on itself, can be used for continuous telemedicine, as the government does its own infrastructures about hospitals and clinics. We have those things being able to treat people at least once a month, one weekend per month. So
Yeah.
that's the direction
Okay.
you're going to.
Yeah, you look very sharp, sir. Did you talk to the president to advise you on how to dress with the... Is this the State House uniform?
Well, I'm told when I speak to gurus of fashion, they tell me red represents power, but I think that's for the president. For the rest of us, red represents
Love.
Valentine
Yes.
and brightness. So for the love of our country, as you can see, that we also work with it, and actually even now our ringtones. I mean, for the patriotic bit, I think
Yeah.
Kenyan colors are good. If you need to look at it comprehensively, white, black, red, it's
Yeah.
Kenyan colors.
You said earlier that your ultimate goal is to be a lawyer. And what are you doing about that?
Yes, I'm involved in a course now towards becoming a lawyer, and combining that with a new course from Leicester University for new media. In Kenyan universities, none has yet started teaching new media, but an online course from Leicester University is offering communication and new media, which is a new frontier.
I think the School of
Government
Journalism has tried to do that. Maybe they stopped, but they were introducing a course like that at Nairobi University. But okay, just before we tie up, I mean, our time is up, but you know, you're very close with the president. Did you tell him you're coming here? And what did he say?
What he's asking, did you have to ask authority to come here?
Yeah.
Well, no. Due to my position, I have inferred authority to decide which shows to participate in and which discussions to do and what I can reveal. Sometimes we make mistakes, but as I said, I will not spend the rest of my life thinking about the mistakes. I'll spend the rest of my lives thinking about how many mistakes I can make and recover from and make it right.
Yeah. How is he working with? I mean, he has a team of young guys, this whole new team, presidential communication, strategy communications team, is a lot of young people, you guys who are out here hustling. Now you are in here in his circles. You're not civil servants who he found there. How is the chemistry?
The president is an affable man. He's maintained your ability to reach him. His private secretary, Jomo Gishaga, has redefined the office of private secretary. He's not just a guy who tags along the course of the president. He's a guy who ensures the best ideas are implemented and done by the president. So given that, he's just a guy you would want to work for. He's reachable on all platforms, including Twitter, DM.
Yeah. What is the one thing you did that really annoyed him? Because you are very fast.
Well, I can only remember a bit during the campaign. We did very many mistakes. And
No.
From
While in State House.
I don't think in State House we are yet to make a major blunder. I think one of the things he has taught us is to do things, and when we fail to admit them. So he's really taught us that well.
Okay, pass our regards to him. Here, somebody has tweeted, just to conclude our debate,
Yeah.
Somebody says, Dennis, you're the kind of Kenyan I've yearned to enter government and turn it around. God bless you and many more of your stature be raised. I think that's very
That's
delighting.
nice. That's very
Young
nice.
guys doing great things. I wish you the best. I hope you don't trip and fall, or as you trip and fall, you rise again. In mistakes, you will achieve success, all right? All right, thank you so much, Dennis, for
Yeah,
finding
just before you conclude,
Yeah, you said
I
you are
still
launching
want to-
something, yeah.
Yeah, we are launching something this mid-morning.
Yes.
Star 271 hash. You're now able to register your company within a day.
Yes,
Before
that's
it used to
something
take
important.
21 days. You
Very
can
important.
start your name search now. Search the name you want to register, and that will help young men and women who are now applying under the 30% AGPO. One of the challenges has been they are paying a lot of legal fee to be able to register, and there are a lot of brokers in the system. So
Yes.
those brokers and middlemen are now out.
Yes.
You can get it directly, pay by M-Pesa, and just go to your nearest office and get your certificate.
So star,
271 hash.
and able to register, you check out your name, you search
You
whether
search
the
your
name is
name.
there.
Yeah.
If it's not there, you can register it,
Yes.
file for registration, which
Yes.
process takes many days. I've been
Yes.
frustrated a lot of times.
Yeah, normally it used to take between 1 and 3 days, and then you come back, it takes another 7 to 21 days.
Yes.
Now, within 24 hours after the submission of everything required online and on the phone, and this is any phone,
Yes.
then you're able to register a company. For now, it's running on Safaricom, but within the next few weeks, you're going to roll it across all the platforms. You have to start from somewhere. That's why I said all these things start from somewhere, and you go learning and experiencing and that stuff.
Excellent.
And gentlemen, I still take on you for mid-August
Yes.
to take me to Nakuru,
To Nakuru, yeah.
so that we can be able to do a live tweeting session there.
Yes, we will.
And, we can be.
We will, because we have deferred that. The Nakuru people are very angry with you. In fact, I've stopped reading the messages because they are furious. But because you promised August, you're going to fix the problem with that connection that you are templating there. All right, that is it. Thank you very much. Dennis Itumbi, the Director of Digital Strategy at State House. We're discussing the exploits and how government is going forward digitally and a lot of things. And this morning they're launching Star 271
hash.
You can register your company within a day, which has taken a lot of time in the past. That's a good thing to hear this morning. Thank you for watching.